us as leaders, as youth workers here, to see our young people using their gifts and talents for the benefit of you guys, our church family, and I'm sure you all agree that that's really cool. And Celine just put on her wellies. But also lots of the children have helped out. Jack and Noah were here helping me set out all these chairs earlier, so big up to Jack for helping out and being so kind and helpful. But I've got a little quiz to start with, another quiz. I'm not going to ask you to stand up or sit down. It's just a hands up if you know the answer, basically. And I'm going to be like Seb last week in teacher mode. Don't shout out. Josh, put your hand up. I heard you shouting earlier. And hopefully the quiz questions will give us a bit of an idea, a little bit more of an idea about what the theme is. So guys, are you all listening? Yeah. Grown-ups, are you listening? You ready? I've got prizes to for the right answers. Oh. So I'm going to throw them at you if you get it right. Yes. So, silence in the mastermind studio. Silence fell over the room. Question 1. Silence. Okay. Question 1. Can you name, well, you don't even know what the question is yet, and I'm guessing the grown-up's going to get this one. Can you name the 4 oceans of the world? Oh, Snae's straight up there. Oh, Sebastian. And it's your birthday, so go on, Sebastian. Any others? Oh, there's one more. It's very cold. I'm going to give you the sweets anyway, to be fair. Yeah, go on the Arctic. Ready? Catch. I directly hit the GoPro down, so I don't know what's happened there. So we had the Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, and Arctic. Very good geography, very good oceans. That's not one of the main oceans of the world. There are 4 big ones. And apparently the Antarctic is being added in, but I didn't count that because I just care. What country, question 2, would I be in if I was swimming near the Great Barrier Reef? If I was diving near the Great Barrier Reef, what country would I be in? Oh, no grown-ups wanting to flaunt their knowledge. Come on, Wendy. Yeah. I'm not sure how we're going to manage to throw that. Ready? Nice. You might get sweets later. This is for everyone, okay? Question 3. This is local knowledge, guys. What are those sandy hill things called that are near Saunton Beach? Oh. Selena's like this. You're trying so hard not to shout it out. Go on.
Sand hills.
They're not called the sand hills, I'm afraid. Ray Hart. They are called sand dunes. I'm going to give you that, but there's a specific name for them as well. Do you want to come and grab these? Yeah, that's it. Braunton Burrows. Right. Let's see if I don't hit the GoPro this time. Okay, question 4. What is the largest animal, I think, in the sea? It's big. It's real big. You called out. Oh. Josh is doing fingers on lips, so Josh. What kind of whale? Yeah, nice. You gave him the answer and he's got sweets now. Last question for my quiz. And if you're all really well behaved, maybe I'll give you all a packet of sweets at the end, all right? Okay, last question. What shark, this is a bit specific, shares part of its name with a household tool? What shark shares a little bit of its name with a household tool? Oh, lots of, Joel Worley looks so desperate to tell me. What is it? Oh, no. June. A hammerhead. Go give those to June for me. Go give those to June. Swordfish, fair enough. That is that's more of a medieval weapon. But I appreciate it, Joel. Come get sweets from me at the end, just for that pure suggestion. So, from my quiz questions, and from Summer's prayer a little bit, what do we think? Selena, come sit. I'm going to give you sweets at the end. Oh, dear. What is my theme, do you think, today? Anyone? Jasmine? It's got something to do with the ocean. Summer said the specific word. You know it. We've been talking about it at home. It begins with
Anchor.
Anchor. Very nice. I've prepped Genevieve at home. Say anchor, say anchor. So we are talking about anchors today. And so my first question is, and it's up there, what are anchors? Has that been up behind me the whole time as well? Yeah. Okay. Because that would be really funny. What are anchors for, Becca?
Anchors are to weigh down the boats when they want to stop on islands.
Nice, to weigh down the boats when they want to stop on islands. Any other definitions of what an anchor does or is for? Jack?
It's lots of different ways.
Lots of different ways to...
Like to anchor.
Oh, I like where your brain is going.
Jesus.
Oh, lovely.
Ocean, ship, there are lots of different things.
In chips?
Yeah.
Oh, ships. Sorry, I think you said chips. I was like, and Jesus. That is where we're going with this. So you've been listening to what I say at home, huh? Any other definitions of what an anchor's for?
So anchors are for like when ships want to stop, they lower that anchor down in the sand. So because anchors are very heavy, the weight makes it stop.
You are so right. Do you want to hear the dictionary definition I got? Because basically you guys have just covered it on the front row right here. What is so desperate? Do you want to say? Say it now, you make me look bad. So the dictionary definition, Jack, that I got off the internet was an anchor is a heavy object used to moor a ship by being at the bottom of the sea. So you guys both got that. And also the other thing I got was that it secures things firmly in position, which Jack, you were kind of edging out a little bit, securing things in position. So an anchor by definition keeps a boat steady and secure by being a heavy thing that like sits on the bottom of the seabed. Okay? So now we know what we're talking about, anchors. And we've also talked a little bit about the ocean and the sea from my quiz questions. So, what do you know about the sea, anyone? What is the sea about? What's in the sea? Come on, everyone involved. I want to see everyone's hands, not just the front row. Wendy, what do you know about the sea or the oceans? Nice, the moon control. We were talking about this the other day. We went to see the moon. Waves go in and out because of the moon. Very good. Snay? There are fish in the ocean. We love that. Noah? The ocean covers 73.5% of the earth. 75% of the earth. I think he said 73.5.
No, he said 75.5.
Last one.
So, the ocean has goldfish in it, but clownfish actually lay red eggs.
Clownfish lay red eggs. Someone's watched Finding Nemo, I think. So, focus back on me. The ocean is full of cool stuff, and I've actually got a Bible quote for the next one, I think. So in Psalm 104, it says, there is the sea, vast and wide, so it's really big, teeming with life of every kind. So Inez mentioned fish, you mentioned a clownfish, we've talked about sharks and whales, there's lots of plant life in the ocean, and it says they're both large, like the blue whale, and really, really small, like a little tiny fish, like a teeny tiny fish. Like a shrimp, thank you very much, like a shrimp. Yeah. So, and it's full of microplastics, which are also super tiny. Jack has been clearing up plastic for his homework, so he's very environmentally conscious. Very good. Maybe at the end? Can I continue? Yeah? So, we've got more pictures of the sea. So the sea can actually be super fun, can't it? Has anyone, put your hand up if you've ever had fun at the seaside? And if you haven't, have you even lived? So here's the seaside. Super fun. So it can be really sunny, the waves can be lovely, and they just lap at your feet. It can be warm, and you can paddleboard and kayak. And actually, it can be like this up on the screen right now, can't it? And I actually, last summer, we had a lovely evening, me and the Hollisters, down, because I live with them. We went down to Heel Bay near Ilfracombe, and we saw Eva there actually that week. And we went paddleboarding and kayaking at Heel Bay, and the water was like crystal clear. It was beautiful, it was warm. We were all jumping in the sea and swimming. And it was so fun and full of joy. So sometimes the sea can be a bit like this. Beautiful, you just want to jump right in, don't you? This picture is a road, so I don't know how I got that one on there, but it's still got the sun on it. Yeah, you leave that for me. But sometimes the sea can also be a bit like the next slide. Oh, a bit more scary. Look at those big waves, that huge wave. Sometimes the waves crash on the rocks like that there. Sometimes there could even be a massive storm with thunder and lightning and big noises and big lights that can scare us and make us afraid. And they're extreme. There can be a tsunami, which is so scary, isn't it? And actually, I've never been in an ocean like that, but my mum went on a cruise once, and she went through, I think it's called the Bay of Biscay. Has anyone else been through the Bay of Biscay? And she was really scared because the waves were like going all the way up the side of the cruise ship. And my mum's a bit of a scaredy cat. Don't tell her I said that, even though she might be watching. And she got really, really scared. But I've never been in an ocean like that. But I wonder, what would you feel like if you were stuck in that ocean on your own? How would you feel? I heard and afraid. Who was that? Thanks, Anne. Any others? Selena. Scared, afraid, and lonely, was that? Yeah, definitely, I see that. Petrified, what a good word. Any other grown-ups? Have you ever been stuck in a storm like that? How do you feel when you're stuck in a storm? Powerless. Very nice, very good word. Jack, of course. He'd feel happy if he bought a surfboard. That remains to be seen. Next time there's a storm, like Storm Eunice, we'll send you out to Saunton Sands, yeah? What is it? Yeah, so actually, my next point is that we've talked a bit about how the sea can be really lovely and calm, but also really big and scary. And actually, sometimes life can be a bit like that, can't it? Sometimes life can be really nice and easy, and things are all going our way. Pardon the pun, it might all be smooth sailing for us in our lives. We might be getting all the toys we want, the jobs we want, the grades we want, and stuff can just feel really happy. Maybe a bit like that other picture of all the sea being nice and calm. Sometimes life can feel like that, can't it? And I'm sure we all agree. But then sometimes it can be scary and unpredictable as well, can't it? There are things in life that might worry us, that might weigh us down or make us anxious or sad. Sometimes things might make us feel like we're floating in the sea all on our own. Maybe a bit like what Ben said, we might feel powerless, we might feel helpless, we might feel afraid. So sometimes life can be really lovely, and sometimes it can be quite hard as well. And actually, just putting on lip balm for each other down here, I actually had an experience once in the sea where life was a bit scary and unpredictable. So I went out swimming with a friend, probably when I was like 13, and she was like some surf life-saving swimming expert, and I don't swim very well at all. And I got caught in a riptide. And so most of you probably know what a riptide is. It's when it pulls you underneath. And I was just swimming to get out. Didn't know you meant to go out the sides. And I kept getting pulled further and further out to sea. And trust me when I say, I thought I was so scared. And my friend had already got to shore. It's like she was waving at me like, hey, see you later. And I was just in the sea on my own. But luckily, well, praise God, someone came to save me. So whose job do you think it might be to have come and saved me on that beach? Go on, Genevieve, say it. Lifeguard. That lifeguard came out on one of his big board things, just chucked me on it and took me back to shore. And I was safe, and I was secure, and I was steady. So actually, thanks, Genevieve, I wasn't dead. No, I wasn't dead. She says it like it is. And actually, that lifeguard was like an anchor in that moment for me. If we're talking about an anchor being something that keeps us safe and secure, that lifeguard did exactly that. He kept me secure on his special saving board, and he kept me safe because he got me back to shore. And do you know that the Bible also describes Jesus like an anchor? Did you know that?
Yeah.
Did you? Amazing. So in Hebrews, which is going to be in our devotional for Lent soon, in Hebrews 6 it says, we have this hope, which is Jesus, as an anchor for the soul, firm and secure. So the Bible tells us Jesus is like an anchor because he's firm and secure. But it also says that he's like something else that keeps us safe, or gives us some security. It says he's like a rock. So we go on to the next side. Go on to the next one now. Oh no, we've skipped. Oh no, where's my rock slide? Oh my goodness, there's no rock slide. So I had this picture of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson on there, guys. And I was going to make a joke about The Rock. It's gone. Bad internet. So he's not like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. You can imagine what that guy looks like. I mean, he's also pretty secure, I guess, pretty big. But the Bible also says Jesus is like a rock. So what can we do on a rock? Someone said sit on it. You can climb on one, but you can stand on the rock. You can stand and it's safe and secure, isn't it, Selena? Yeah, is that what you're going to say? So a rock is a steady place to stand. In 1 Corinthians it says that Jesus is like a rock. And what's that rock called? Jack, what's the rock called from The Lion King again? Do you remember? What's it called? Pride Rock. Genevieve, all with the answers. I kind of picture it like Pride Rock if you've seen Lion King. It's this huge rock that is really steady and secure. And there's one other thing that I thought about when I was thinking about this topic that Jesus describes himself as. He describes himself as the something of the world. It begins with an L. What do we think it is? Oh, someone straight up. He is the light of the world. He says he's the light of the world. And what thing that is connected to the sea also produces light and spins round? Anyone else? Because these girls are monopolising the answers here. Come on, Clara. Lighthouse. Lovely. So a lighthouse emits light. So the Bible tells us that Jesus is like all of these things in some way. He keeps us safe. Like the anchor, he keeps us secure and firm and steady. Like the rock, he gives us a safe place to put our feet and secure ourselves. And like the lighthouse, he guides us and leads us and helps us find our way. So I guess the main point is, if Jesus is all of those things, if he's steady and secure and he guides us, does that mean that life is always going to be easy? I'm looking at all the grown-ups here who've lived their lives so far, and being like, no, definitely not. Because we know there are things in the world that aren't good. We know there are things that make us anxious and sad and frustrated, and that's for all of us, isn't it? Things make us angry. Maybe some things this week have made us feel helpless or alone or frustrated. Yeah, do we all agree? Life isn't always easy, is it? Yep. And for me, personally, I keep hitting this mic, I'm doing this thing called a degree, which some of you might have done, you might do them in the future, your parents might have done them, and I'm in my 3rd year, very close to the end, and I'm starting to feel the pressure. Claire knows this, she listens to me complaining about it all the time. And I kind of get this sense sometimes that maybe I'm not smart enough to do this degree. I feel the pressure of maybe I'm not good enough for it, maybe I'm not talented enough, maybe I can't finish it, and it's all a waste of time and I'm not good enough. And I get very worried and very frantic and very anxious about it. But do you know what? In those times when I'm feeling anxious and when I'm feeling worried, God reminds me that he loves me unconditionally. That is a promise that he makes to me and that he makes to all of us. But in those moments, that love of God is like an anchor in my life, and it keeps me secure and it keeps me safe when my mind is worrying and my heart is racing and I'm panicking about stuff. So God's love helps me and it anchors me. So I just wonder, for all of us here, what are those things that we worry about? What are those things? We're not going to share them out loud, these ones. These are going to be just for you and God. What are the things that we're concerned about? What are the things that make us angry or frustrated? And that can be this week, this month, your whole life. What have been the things that are making you frustrated or worried or sad? And I just want you to start thinking about them, because we've got a little reflective activity I'm going to get you to do later, all right? But the brilliant thing is as well, on the other hand, life isn't doom and gloom all the time, is it? Sometimes life is beautiful and amazing and full of joy and happiness. And I was thinking about it earlier, and sometimes for me it's in the summertime when the weather is great and I can hang out with my friends and there's no uni work to do and I can just lay on the beach and swim in the sea. So I wonder what those things are for you that make you full of joy, that give you happiness, and that show you how amazing God is. So again, start thinking about those. Is it family or friends? Is it your school or your work? Your colleagues, your hobbies, nature? What are those things that fill you with the joy of the Lord? Again, we're going to share them at the end, all right, Eloise? So just start thinking about them again now, and I'm going to get you to reflect on that later. But here's the bottom line, and this is what the one thing I want you to take away, if you take anything away, is the brilliant thing about Jesus is that he is the same whether life is good or whether life is hard. Jesus is with us whether we're having a stormy time in life or whether we're having a smooth sailing time in life. He is sure and steady, so when life is hard, he will be with us. But on the other side, when life is really good and when life is full of joy, he is still with us, guiding us and keeping us safe. So that's the thing I really want everyone in this room to take away from today. And the most important thing to remember is that Jesus gave up himself for us on the cross, didn't he? So that we could have eternal life. And that's the hope that Hebrews is talking about. That we can look forward to a day where there is no more frustration or sadness or tears or anger. And I think that's awesome. Do we think that's awesome? Yeah. Yes, it's awesome. So I wanted to kind of finish this and root it in real life. So I asked a few people to share some stories, or a story about when Jesus has been an anchor in their life, just to finish, and then we're going to move on to the next thing. So I'd like to invite Selena and Zach and Claire Hollister up to the front to join me. And I've got a mic here for you, hopefully. If not. Hello. All right. Okay, so I'm going to move this out of the way so people can see you. Just going to pop this back here. Okay. So we're going to talk about our real lives and when Jesus has been an anchor in our life. So Selena, can you tell us a little story or just an anecdote about when Jesus has been an anchor for you and kept you steady and kept you safe. Can you tell us a story about that?
When I went bowling with my friends, with my sisters and my mum, I wanted to quit, but God helped me stay put to it.
There we go. God helped you get over the fear. Yeah? Okay, now Zach is going to share a story with us as well about when God has been an anchor, when Jesus has been an anchor.
So probably, as most of you know, a couple summers ago, we had a very tragic event happen at the end of our summer holiday in France. If you don't know, our van broke down, and we had to catch a ferry. And yeah, everyone was getting all worried and everything. I just thought, God is with us and he'll sort it all out. And he did. He got us home. We ended up having to catch a plane, which was really interesting. But yeah, that's when I felt that God was anchored in our life.
Thank you so much. And finally, last but not least, Claire, when have you felt like a specific story or a more general one about, we've talked about this a little bit, about when God has been your anchor?
Okay, so Chloe's asked me to get up and chat, and it's funny being put on the spot to come up with a specific story, and I guess it made me think and look back and reflect and think, gosh, God has been the anchor all through my life, and and I don't know how many of you guys know me. I was going to quickly just say, I'm Claire, these are my 3 kids, and I'm married to Nigel, and life's been, God's been so very, very good to me, and so very gracious, and in so many ways, and yet, as we've talked about, there's been ups and downs, obviously, and life's had its challenges. And I was going to come with an example, but do you know what? I think the biggest thing for me on my heart at the moment is Ukraine. And there was a specific, there's a charity that a friend of mine is involved with. They're a couple who live out in Ukraine with an organisation called Wide Awake International, and they work with disabled adults. And she's been posting updates about what's going on in Ukraine, and that's clearly the biggest storm going on right now at the moment. It sort of pales doesn't puts my little storms into into perspective, I suppose. But she's been sharing, and one of the things that she said really struck me as an example of how they're just anchor, despite all that's going on in Ukraine, they're anchoring onto God. And she said, don't doubt in the dark what God has promised in the light.
Amen.
And it just really encouraged me and spoke to me, and just, in the ups and the downs, when we don't feel him and when we don't experience him or we don't see him, God is still there. And that's been my experience.
Thanks, guys. Can you just give these guys a round of applause for sharing bravely? So, we are going to do some worship in a minute. We might finish with just one song of worship with My Lighthouse that I want all the kids involved at the end. You might know why, some actions. But before that, I would like to invite Molly to just come up and read a little poem that I wrote at the end of writing this preach, just to kind of reflect. So if you want to come up, Molly, and quickly read that for us. And then we're going to go into My Lighthouse. So if you want to do the moves with me, come to the front, because I'm going to be doing the moves.
Jesus is my anchor. He keeps me safe and sound. Jesus is my lighthouse, stopping me from running aground. Jesus is a rock, a firm place to put my feet. Jesus keeps me strong and steady, and I know he loves me. When the storms are raging and I feel worried or sad, I know that Jesus is with me. He will always hold my hand. And when the skies are sunny and there are no clouds above, I will celebrate my Jesus and lean into his love.